Welcome back to the Living for His Glory podcast. I am here with one of my best friends in the whole world, Jacob Wolfe. Jacob just finished his freshman year at Mount St. Joseph University. He wrestles for them. He's on their team. You guys had a pretty successful year. Made it to regionals,
Yeah,
but
we
not
did.
past that. Stopped there.
Nationals was where we didn't
Oh,
make
did
it.
you make it to nationals? Or
No,
no, I
no,
didn't think.
we were in the hardest region of the entire
Right.
nation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really rough. We actually just switched regions too.
Really?
Last year we actually did have an All-American on our team. We placed eighth in the nation,
That's nice.
and then the year after they switched us to literally the hardest region. There was like five out of the 10 teams there are nationally ranked, and all of them are like that top five, top 10 wrestlers in it. And we're not the best that we've ever been right now. So like we used to have a national champ, now we just don't. So even the guy that placed last year and it was an All-American, he didn't even make it this year. It was that tough. It was
Wow.
very strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
very strong competition.
Jacob, we love stories, right? I mentioned this to you earlier before we got started.
Yeah.
Stories are important. And what I believe is that stories are the best way that we can connect to people. And it's the biggest catalyst for growth. You learn more from a story than you do from a lecture. That's why the Bible is just one big story and made up of a lot of different
Yeah,
stories.
66 books come to tell one story.
Exactly. But there's just so many different ways that story is told. There's so many
Hmm.
different stories. There's a story in the Bible for each person out there. That's what I believe. And what I also believe is that I using my connections with different people because my story is different than yours. I believe I can reach a bigger audience by bringing in guys like you, bringing in guys like Evan last week and Eli Cox 2 weeks before that. And that's how we reach people by telling our unique individual stories. And I tell mine a little bit. I'm here to learn more of yours and
Hmm.
share that so that maybe somebody that you used to be, maybe somebody is who you used to be, and you can just inspire them, impact them to make it through just like you did. That's what we're about. And so I'll give the floor to you.
It actually starts with wrestling.
Starts with wrestling. That doesn't
Starts with
shock me at
wrestling.
all.
Yeah, no,
That's no
so
shocker.
yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but I've actually been wrestling since fourth grade. I
Yeah.
started in fourth grade. I've been wrestling all the way up until now. I'm still wrestling. I'm in college doing it. I plan on fighting for my actual career, so pretty much doing it for the rest of my life. Wrestling is where it all started, though. So as I grew up in the church, I grew up going to a private Christian school, LCA,
That's how we
and
met.
it is how we met. Actually, that's a cool story, yeah, but that's how we met. And yeah, so I grew up around church. I grew up around God. Grew up around people that loved God, that knew God, but I didn't know God. No, I thought I did because I went to church. I did all the stuff that you would say a Christian would, but I didn't know God. I didn't live for him. I lived for myself. I didn't care about anyone. I was selfish, all this kind of stuff. I stole a lot. Even in the church, I stole. It was not good. I was not a good human being, to say that. But, and this is before I wrestled too, actually. Again, wrestled started in fourth grade. And that's when things changed. I changed my perspective. I changed my attitude. And it was huge. I actually changed a lot about myself, but I was still a little spoiled brat that didn't get things, or when I didn't get things my way, I would complain about it. And I was very selfish still. And the only thing that could fix that was God. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. But so all the way up, even through fourth grade, all the way up until about seventh grade, even when I started wrestling, I was still going through struggles, still going through all this stuff. Selfish. I cursed a lot, did all this kind of stuff. But the big thing that changed was FCA. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So Fellowship of Christian Athletes, if you all don't know, we watch them. But there was an FCA wrestling camp at Lindsey Wilson College. They hosted it, and it was my seventh grade year. It was the year before COVID. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see what I can do. See if it's good for me. I
Yeah.
don't know. And I went in there with low expectations. Again, at this point, I still thought I knew God. I still thought I had a relationship with him, but I didn't feel anything. I didn't have any connection. I didn't pray. I didn't read my Bible. I didn't do anything to even try to maintain a relationship. So I was going in this not expecting anything, expecting to have fun, expecting to wrestle, get better. That's it. Didn't expect anything else out of it. But there was one sermon. It was the second to last day. It's a 3-day camp, second to last day. We got done wrestling for the day, all that kind of stuff. We were sitting in church because we have a sermon every night and every morning. But this one was spoken by Nate Carr, is his name. He's a big time wrestler. He's like an Olympic bronze medalist. He's a coach over at Iowa State.
Okay.
And yeah, so he's actually he is not the head coach, but he's a coach over there. But Nate Carr, he was preaching that day and he was saying, "You're gonna die if you don't know Jesus." That scared me. Because again, I thought I was scared, but when he was the way he said it, I can tell something hit me. I didn't know Christ. He's talked about developing a relationship with him, maintaining a relationship with him. I didn't see that. I just saw it as like a set of rules, and I had to follow, and I break them all the time, every day. So I didn't even pay attention to it. But the moment he said, "You're gonna die," hell is waiting for you because hell is separation from God. I was scared of dying and going to hell, but I was scared that I didn't know God. So when he says hell isn't just some place where it's, oh, you're burning or whatever, yeah, it is literally separation from God. And I don't think people understand how powerful that is.
The way I've thought about it is so think about your worst day, the worst day you've ever lived, the worst feeling you've ever felt, the ultimate pit of despair. God was still there. You didn't feel him, you didn't see him, but God is everywhere, right? God is
Mhm.
everywhere here. So God was still there in that worst time of your life. So think about how much worse it is. God isn't there.
Yeah.
It's beyond our comprehension. Just like we can't fully comprehend the unconditional love that He has for us, we also cannot comprehend the absence of that.
Yeah. Yeah, people see this as like oh, you either love me and accept me or he sends you in hell, but that's not the case. You chose to separate yourself from God, so he said, okay, you don't want me? Fine. Have it your way. And everything without God is suffering, is pain, is sin, is death
Yeah.
overall.
And
It
it
is
breaks his
death.
heart when we make that
And
decision.
yeah, breaks my heart now.
Yeah,
Listen.
it hurts. It hurts to see. It
Mhm.
hurts to watch. It hurts to watch people make that decision.
That's why when you say we push you, that's what that is. Because we don't want you to die. We don't want you to live life without God. Because even though you don't feel it right now, God is here giving you everything that you love. Think about that. He's giving you everything that you love. So yeah, people, the food, the clothes on your back, the hobbies that you do, everything He created specifically for you. Everyone's individual. That's why everyone's so unique. There is no two people. There's no doppelganger. There's no one alike like that. No, it's not. Everyone has different DNA, which is crazy. He's the greatest artist. He's the
Yeah,
greatest artist out there.
every fingerprint's different.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyways, back to the story though.
Yeah, of course.
That's the first time I thought about that. And I've been thinking about it since. I still think about it today. I have so many questions still, but I've got a lot answered at the same time now that I've come to know Christ. But that day, he finally said, if you don't know you Christ or if you don't think you've known Christ, put your hand up, put your head down. And I did that. And yeah, he said, God, I know I'm a sinner. I know I've done evil. I've done wrong. I want you to come save me. And that's when I made that choice. I asked him to come save me. And yeah, it felt something. It felt crazy. I tell you what, it did feel, it was something. But, so when that happened, my life changed. I wasn't selfish. I'm still mean, but I wasn't, I
You're
was,
mean with love. From my experience, I
yeah,
don't know about others, but from my
yeah,
experience, you're mean with love.
yeah. I mean with love. I don't have an intent to hate any. I used to hate a lot. Someone I didn't like hated me. If I didn't have Jesus, I would hate so much. I would hate so much just because someone disagreed with me. Like that's how bad it was. But now that I have Christ, if anything, I feel saddened by everything going on. And so my anger is almost completely gone from just because I accepted Christ and just because I live through him by him now. And yeah, it's changed my perspective on life. So not just taking away anger, taking away selfishness, but changing my perspective on things. I used to see the glass half empty, now I see it half full. I'm not looking at life like, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that. Rather, I'm living for other people. I'm living for Christ. And it's a better way of living, let me tell you.
Would you say that this change has given you more, or has it taken away?
I'd say it's given. I can't really say it took away much. It took away my anger for the world. Tell you what, I know it's something special. I can tell you what, it's a feeling that's hard to beat. Let's just say that it's really
Mhm.
hard to beat. But yeah, I don't know. It's given me a lot though. Like so much peace. That's the big thing for me. I've had a lot of peace. And especially now with everything going on, when COVID hit, I was even then I had a little struggle. But COVID, all the way up to now, I have had nothing but peace. You do these like crazy times through all these riots, the world going crazy, and it almost feels like we're in the end times, right? But I've had peace of mind from all of this. And like when people get angry, I don't crash out anymore, as they say. But it's just like that thought of having Christ, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's like when anything happens, no matter what, as long as you're living through him, by him, like him, nothing to fear.
Yeah.
No,
What have we to fear? If
yeah,
we
doesn't
play
exist.
things out to their ultimate end, if you there's a lot of things and a lot of philosophies, if you play it to their ultimate end, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to be angry. If you play it out to its ultimate end where it leads, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Christ got angry, but not forever.
No, it didn't. It wasn't something that consumed him. It wasn't. It's something that it happened and it ended. But like the ultimate end is okay. So if he didn't get angry when he did, people continue desecrating the Father's house. That's not a good thing. It made the temple, his father's house, it made it a place of deceit, of bribery.
Mm,
It was just some trade, just
yeah.
some worldly business.
It wasn't for the purpose, right? It was,
Yeah, the
yeah.
holiness of it was just the purpose of it was defeated, the holiness of it was defeated, and that's why it was such a point of anger. But even in that anger and even in casting them out, when that job was done, when he finished doing that, it didn't consume him, it didn't continue because the ultimate end of anger is just destruction, whether it be on somebody else or as it often ends up being more of ourselves. But it's an interesting little origin there. I
Yeah,
did
that's
not
right.
know your journey. I just thought you were always like my perspective is like me and you have been Christians just throughout childhood.
Yeah.
I made that decision at Edge Camp in 2014.
Nice camp, man.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know. It's the greatest camp of all time.
It had its run. It was fun. So it was July 4th, 2014 when I made that decision.
Okay.
So we're almost 11 years now. And I just thought that you were there with me because I knew you knew a lot. I knew you showed up to church a lot. Things that you thought made you a Christian, and especially, and I did too because we were kids.
Yeah.
Let's let some things just okay. We're kids. We
Don't
didn't
know
have the
better.
full understanding yet, fully developed frontal lobe, stuff like that. But that actual building that connection with Christ and what that looked like, it's cool. But what has been your biggest struggle I would ask since you were making that decision? What's been that biggest struggle that has really been a cause of a big trial for you that's just made everything go mad in your life?
I'd say patience and consistency are the two biggest things that have really gotten to me
Okay.
since then. Again, that COVID year, I had very little patience. I actually got angry, like very angry back in that day. Back in that time, like right when that lockdown happened and throughout school, I was a very angry person. Like, I cussed out my parents one time. It was that bad. Like, it was bad. But I didn't have any patience. I was straying away from God. I wasn't consistent at the time. I barely picked up my Bible. I barely prayed. I barely did anything like that.
Why, if you don't mind?
I think I was just depressed,
Really?
honestly.
Just the
Really
whole
just depressed.
lockdown scenario. You don't get to see anybody, your buddies. I know you got two or three dudes that you're just tight with, that you hang out with, talk with all
Well,
the time.
I didn't have anybody at that time. I knew I could have reached out, but I didn't talk to anybody that time. I wasn't as close to you back then as I am now. I didn't even talk to Ben that much.
It's a shocker to me that you weren't talking to
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, like I talked to him, but I didn't. I never saw him. I never played that much with him. I or like played Xbox or anything like that. I didn't do anything. I didn't hang out with anybody. So I was just it was a depressing time. It was a depressing time. But it just caught up to me and I dropped it and I
Okay.
just let my emotions loose. And let me just say, I'll probably never do that again. That was a bad time in my life.
That
But
happens.
no, yeah, no, I can't say perfect forever.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
gonna be more bad times and there's gonna be more good times, and just build that story to continue to
Yeah.
reach more people,
Yeah.
right? You can provide more impact. So what changed? Was it just the fact, okay, you started being able to see each other? You got to see other people more as COVID
Mhm.
took its toll, and what changed? What prompted you to get out of this depression and this anger?
Talking about it.
Talking about it.
Man, that's
Really?
very, yeah, I know it's as crazy as it sounds, but it is very underrated. Sometimes it's literally that simple because I kept everything to myself. And I'm gonna go back, like when I cussed out my parents, that was a very big turning point for me when that day happened because that's when I exploded and it caught everything caught up to me. And I just let it all out right there. And my parents, I think, realized that, so they didn't punch me or anything. I got lucky that day, let me tell you.
Because I know your
Yeah.
parents, they're not letting that slide.
They did though. That's the thing. They did. And I did not see that coming, but
Because your parents know
and
forgiveness and they understand.
yeah, they completely understood. And I'm blessed to have good parents like that. So when that happened, afterwards, I just started talking about it. Literally that simple. I just started talking about it and like just everything that was going on. And man, let me tell you, even if you don't have the best relationship with your parents or with other people, sometimes just talking about it and they will listen. It doesn't matter whether they can help or not. They will listen.
That's why it's so
And
important to have at least two or three really close friends. I got them,
yeah.
you got them. They're
Now,
important to have.
yeah.
That's something that you know me. I'm a talker. I've never had a problem with opening my mouth,
Oh, I know.
but I have had a problem with the content of what I'm saying. I just like to get along with people, connect with people, have fun. But there have been times where I was down on the inside, and there are times like the times of the most darkness I faced in my life is because I separated myself. I went alone. I just went completely. I'm going to just deal with this slowly. I'm just going to do my own thing and I'll just get over it. I didn't get over it until I talked about it. And what was really
Mhm.
funny is I thought I had gotten over it because I had talked about it with a couple people. I have, like, you're one of them. I talked with you about my struggles. And it wasn't until a year and a half later of big struggle for me that I really turned the page and got over it. And it was just like, all right.
I think I remember that time too.
Yeah, I went through an experience through Rise Up Kings. And I remember they put us in an ice bath and we just talked. And the point was to get deep and realize things. And the thing about the ice brought it out of you because it was cold. I've had ice baths before. You've had ice baths before.
Yeah,
Dude, it was
it'll get you
cold.
talking.
It was cold. It
Yeah,
was cold.
it's no, I believe. I believe.
It like just straight up. And I found myself like a few guys went before me, and while they were going, I was kind of like, what am I going to say in this? Because I had to do it, right? And they were going for 10 minutes. Like they're going to get it out of you. And then I slip in that ice bath. I lose my breath, and finally get to breathing. We get to talking, and something completely different came out. I started talking about my ex-girlfriend. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, it's been a year and a half. Where is this coming from? I've already talked about this. There's not a part of what happened there that I haven't talked about yet. Why is it coming up? Why is it bothering me still?
It's because it hasn't been resolved yet.
It hasn't been resolved yet. It hasn't been resolved in me yet. Because before this experience, the week before I saw her, and I talked to her, and I talked to her mom, and I talked to her grandparents, and it was a whole thing. Just talking, right? And it was bothering me. In the back of my head, it was bothering me. I hadn't found my current girlfriend yet. So I was surrounded by these thoughts of temptation of maybe I should reach out to her. Maybe I should. And I had blocked her 6 months prior to this meeting and I felt guilty about it. And then she brought it up and it
She
made me more guilty.
she brought it up.
Yeah. It made me feel more guilty because she asked me when I was going to be back for a break. And then she checked back later and saw that she's blocked. And I was just like thinking in the back of my head, I wasn't there for her. She needed me and I wasn't there for her and this and it spiraled. And I just carried that with me because I was guilty to talk about it with somebody because I'm like, it should be over. It shouldn't matter anymore. One of the biggest things that the devil tries to do to hurt you the most is to take away your story. I was allowing him to take away my story because I was scared to talk about it because I was like, what are they gonna think? They're gonna think I'm still obsessed with her or heartbroken a year and a half later. Come on, I can't do that. And then I slipped in the ice bath and it came out around these dudes that 24 hours earlier I had no idea even existed. But there's something about that ice bath and the conversation I had with the two coaches that I faced that just so you're sitting in this ice bath, you got your arms out, everything else is submerged,
Mhm.
and at the end of it, it's hey, you're gonna go full into this ice bath. Pick your feet up so you can fit, but you're gonna go fully submerged, arms, head, everything. Yeah, oh gosh.
Dude,
And
that's the worst thing.
what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in that ice bath and you're going to leave behind, you're gonna leave in the ice the man that you used to be, the man that carries this with you, the man that has all this, the traumas that you carry, the burden that's been placed on you. And when you come up, that version of you stays in the ice bath and you're made new. And rumor has it, the longer you stay in the ice bath, the better, the more it works. I went down, right? Oh gosh, it was cold.
Mhm.
So cold. And but I was like, I stayed down there for a few seconds because I was like, I'm getting rid of this. I am not going to carry this guilt anymore. I'm not going to carry this shame anymore. I felt that was it. It's not the fact that I wasn't talking about it anymore. I had already talked through it. I'd already gotten over it. Already moved on. It wasn't anything that had to do with her or what happened with us or my ability to share or express. It had everything to do with the shame I carried from that because it ended ugly. And I didn't realize that it was holding me back. I had a ton of shame for everything that happened there. And when I went down that ice, man, I came back up a new person. I didn't have that shame anymore. I didn't carry that shame. Let me tell you, the devil doesn't stop attacking me.
Sure. Yeah, no.
He doesn't stop attacking you.
He's consistent, right?
He
Yeah,
is, and he's used the same tactics. And I'm like, look, man, I don't carry that anymore. You can't hurt me like that anymore. You're gonna try to make me feel guilty or shameful. I'm not gonna carry that anymore. That's not what I do. It's not my life anymore, man. You're using old tactics on a new person. I'm not gonna let you hurt me like this. I do not carry that anymore. And that has been amazing for me.
So, do you think that was the ice in the Rise Up Kings, or was that Jesus?
That was Jesus. Now, don't get me wrong. The ice and the Rise Up Kings is a symbolism. It was very much, I want God to work. We're just setting a stage to allow him to do that. And the ice and the coaches and the whole Rise Up King experience, it just was a beautiful setup that allowed God to work. And it was through Jesus that, and the symbolism of the ice, that I got rid of that. Definitely. Jesus
Mm.
worked. I just uncovered Jesus in a new way, in a new way.
I was about to say, there you go. That's what it feels like to get saved by Jesus. That's literally what it feels like. Like you don't feel shame, you don't feel guilt, you don't feel that weight on your shoulders anymore. It all comes off, it comes back, goes away because now that's Jesus' job now. Like that he's just taking it off of you. And now you just follow him.
Have you ever read the Prince Warrior series?
I've not.
It's a really good series, actually. It's not a high reading level. It's fictional, but it's so easy to connect to Jesus and the armor of God and all of that. And so there's a guy, his name I believe is Levi. He made a bad call and he got captured. And there's these stone warriors, I guess, that are they serve the evil guy. I can't remember his name, but and basically when they touch you, like you start turning into one of them. They start turning you into stone.
Okay.
And his friends come and rescue him. It's a whole thing. They get back to their guide. His name is Ruach, which is another connection because Ruach is a Jesus figure. He represents him and what the God that he is because Ruach is the Hebrew breath, right? That's your first key there. And so what he does is he reaches out of his robe. There's a glowing hand. He touches the arm that was turned into stone and heals the arm, except one little point on his finger that remains stone, and he's left it as he said a reminder. Now, later on in book three, after carrying this and having this reminder, it becomes clear, oh my goodness, if Levi had just asked for it to be taken away, Ruach would have taken it away. because he did it with somebody else. And Levi was like, wait, it's that simple? He goes, yes, all you had to do was ask. So, as much as Jesus saves us, I also believe that he saves us as much as we allow to be saved.
Yeah, that's why it's a choice, right? We can't, that's why
Yes.
you can't force anyone into this lifestyle. You have to accept it yourself. You have to accept the reality that you are imperfect, that you do need a savior.
Yeah, very much. And so, even if you have made that decision like me and you have, there's more. There's more to be saved. There's more of us that we're holding back. And for Levi, it's a representation of there's still that one little piece of guilt of that bad decision that he made that he's holding back. I was saved from the bad decisions I made with that girl and the bad decisions that caused our breakup and everything that went into that. I gave that to Jesus, but I didn't give everything to Jesus. I didn't give my shame to Jesus. I didn't give my guilt to Jesus. And when I did that, when I made that decision, man, that feeling when you give more to Jesus and he takes more of that, he takes more of the cross off of your shoulders, man, there's no feeling like it. I've not
Mhm.
encountered a feeling like that where more of my cross that I choose to carry is taken off by Jesus, that I just give it to him.
Yeah.
Jesus is happy to take your
Mhm.
cross if you just give it to him.
That's the hardest part, though.
It is. It's
Yeah.
hard to not carry that.
Yeah. Because you have to, you feel it, I mean, because he's not physically here. So it's like, you can't really, it doesn't feel like it all the time. Right? Even though he is working in ways you don't know yet.
Mhm.
But he probably set that whole Rise Up Kings. How did you find out about that?
My dad,
How did he find out?
his brother, connections, right?
Well, yeah,
Connections.
connections. They'll come to you. And
Yeah,
look what it did to you.
exactly. Changed me forever. I also think there's a bit of personal responsibility in that, personal guilt. Now, Jacob, let's say me and you, we wanted to go get dinner. All right. So me and you are going out for dinner, and waiter comes back, gives me my card. Waiter comes back, looks at you, and says, "Hey, Jacob, your card declined. You didn't go out and sell enough knives this week.
Rats.
So you don't have a way to pay for this." And I looked and I said, "Hey, Jacob, I've got you. I've got your dinner." And for whatever reason, you decided to be bougie and you made some bad decisions. You drank like 10 tequilas or
Oh,
something. Like you went crazy. Like your
lot of
bill's in the
stuff.
triple
Yeah.
digits somewhere. And I said, Jacob, I got you because you can't cover it. What would your immediate reaction be if we're in the car going home or even just
Thank
in the
you.
restaurant?
Thank you.
It'd be thank you. Would there be a part of you that felt shame that you couldn't pay your due?
Yeah.
Would you
100%.
feel bad that I had to cover that for you?
Yeah,
You wouldn't have wanted me to take that. You would have been like, oh my gosh, thank you for doing that. But you're like, oh my gosh, he had to do that for me?
even sometimes when you ask for it, it still feels like that.
Yeah, it's guilt, right?
Mm.
But as thankful as you can be, as thankful as I am that Jesus died for me, it's so natural to be like, because me and you can't pay our dues.
We don't have the money.
Yeah, we don't have any funds, and we don't have the ability to go work and get more funds because we're not saved by
No,
work.
yeah, we're not saved by works. Yeah, no.
So,
That's what separates us. Like they say that Christianity is just another religion, or it is a religion. I don't like to think of it like that.
no.
It's not. You don't work for every other thing, every other religion, even Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu. You have to work for. You have to do certain things properly for you to be saved. But
Not here, man.
yeah, no, you could
You,
be a killer. Yeah, that's extreme. But
it's unlikely, but Jesus works. Jesus does what he does, and we know that Jesus is just. We just have to trust it.
no sin is above any other.
That's why Jesus was so amazing because Jesus died with unlimited funds. And guess what? He spent every last dollar on me and you, on people listening to this. Every last dollar. So if there's a part where it's like of shame of man, I couldn't do this, don't feel that shame, man. There's no reason to because God just works and he wants to and he loves to do it. And he would do it in a second if you just asked, and he would do
Mhm.
it with all the love and just want to in the world, and you don't owe anything else. He just wants you, and he will do anything to have you. He will give anything to have you, including his life, which he did already give. He didn't just give his life. He went deep with it. There is no such thing as a death worse than that of Jesus Christ.
The greatest love is sacrifice. And one of my favorite like analogies, I guess, is like you can enter a jail cell that's open, has everything that you would ever want in it. It's very comfy. But one day that jail cell will close and there is no escape, and all of a sudden everything you have is gone. And it's so fun anymore. And now you're locked up for eternity.
Yeah, it really is that deep when you
Yeah,
think
no,
about it.
yeah, no, it's like it gets deep.
We get
It
so
gets
caught
deep.
up in, for me, golf, for you, wrestling, for everybody else in their work and their finance and the physical things that they're chasing. And now I'm not saying by any
Me.
means don't go be financially successful. I'm not saying by any means you shouldn't pursue your fitness. I'm not saying by any means that don't be you and live your full calling or your career. Don't go be the best that you can be. Please go do that. But keep in mind, hey, this is not the end. This means nothing at the end of the day. So I heard Ed Milet speak, and the way that he broke it down was, look, I want you to be successful. You should be successful. What not for the sake of being successful, because that's short term. And short term people are selfish. He thought about it in a long term view of how can I impact others? How
Mhm.
can I change their lives? What difference can I make in the world because I'm successful? He told this story. So this guy, he's rich. So he's so rich he owns an island.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pretty wealthy guy.
But more or less.
So he told a story about how he bought an island and he had these six veterans that fought in Vietnam and severe PTSD. PTSD so strong they wouldn't even talk.
That's bad.
And he brought them to this island, and just through a course of being there with them and whatever, they went on hunting trips together, this and this. They were able to create something like they were able to not just talk, but they were able to heal. And those men, the rest of their lives that they've lived and and or are living are significantly better. And Ed's look, I created success, enough success to buy an island, and now look what's happened. Like these men have been able to be healed and impacted and in ways that never would have happened if I'd never became that successful. If I didn't make it to that level, they'd be exactly where they were. And who knows, like they, because I believe, if not most of them, if not all of them, became believers, which is the ultimate
That's
impact
that's
that we
that's
want to
the
create,
goal,
right?
right?
Which is the goal in the first place, not just to heal, but to become believers, which I believe becoming a believer of Christ causes is the source of the greatest healing you could possibly have.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like they never would have become believers if Ed didn't make it to that level. And so I think about my own journey and where I'm trying to go. I don't want success for the sake of having it. I want success for, yes, taking care of my family, but also how many more people can I reach just by making that decision, just by engaging these behaviors? Who more can I reach? Who more can I show the love of Jesus to? Just by growing, just by expanding, just by living out my God ordained calling and letting the results be Him. I'm not saying I'm gonna own an island one day. I'm not saying I'm gonna be a millionaire one day. But what I am saying is I'm gonna follow the journey that God has for me. And
Mhm.
if God has that in store for me, I say great. I say thank you.
Be grateful for that.
But I just want to expand His kingdom. I just want not just to expand His kingdom, but I also want to get deeply personal with people and show them His kingdom through me. Show that love of Jesus through me. That's it. That's my standard. That's my process. And whatever He blesses me with is what He blesses me with. But I've got a long way to go, man. I've got a long way to go before I become enough like Him to where I can do what He needs me to do. And the beautiful thing about that is that doesn't end. The journey doesn't end.
Oh,
I always thought it ended when I died, but that's not true. Because guess what? When I die, yes, my journey ends personally. I go to heaven,
that's
but
great. However,
work I did does not. Because I'm gonna have kids one day. They're gonna keep going after I'm dead. The way that I am is going to be continued to reflect in them just because that's the nature of being a dad. I reflect my dad, you reflect your dad. That's how parents work.
Yeah, father in the home.
So the impact that I'm making while I'm alive continue those ways continue to go after I'm gone. Think about Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's my guy. He died 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. You know who
Years ago.
remember
Wow,
you know who remembers Kobe Bryant?
everybody.
Everybody. Because his greatness didn't live and die with him. It doesn't live and die with one person.
Well, he was able to continue it, and he will forever be remembered.
Yeah, because he made waves, because he tried to create impact. He spread his mama mentality, and he only did that as well as he did because he became incredibly successful. He won 5 NBA championships, one time MVP. He was an 18-time
Yeah,
All-Star, top 5 players of all time. Successful dude. But it wasn't just about his success. Like his success wasn't about him. It wasn't about being top 5 all time, top 1 all time.
that just comes with it, right?
Yeah, it just comes with it. He created an impact. He created change. He inspired people, and that is, I think, one of the best ultimate ends that we can have. That's for Christ, inspiring people for Christ, not just with our own personal agendas.
It's nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. It's love. I think that's something people
We miss it.
struggle to understand or miss. Yeah, they miss it.
We think about result, right?
Yeah,
Think about
It's not always about result.
no, it's not.
No.
I would say it's never about result, at least from our powers. Result. So you talked earlier about God giving.
Hmm.
God giving food, clothes, life,
Yeah,
right?
he created all of it, right? Mhm.
Yeah, that's results. God gives every bit of results. Now we can do stuff to earn it. Me and you train because we want better results.
When I say result, I'm like personal, not like physical. I'm talking
Mhm.
about spiritual. Like changing the person, that's a result. And it still comes from God, but it's still our.
We do so with everything, we do work to get results. Physical, yes, but also spiritual. So we do work to create that. I can't change whoever's listening. I can't change you. God, only God can. But I sure can help. I sure can explain things in a certain way that allows him to work, that opens up that ability. I'm gonna give you an example. So I know I can see your mind working. Parable of the sower, right? Parable of the sower. So the sower comes and he just spreads the seeds on the cart path, on the hot ground, in the thistles, and then in the good soil. Correct? He's doing work to go do that. But one thing that he's not trying to do is control a result. If you're a gardener, where would you plant that seed?
Best spot possible.
The best spot possible. Guess what? Only because he spread these seeds randomly, he just tossed them. So only a quarter of these seeds went in the best spot possible. If you're a gardener and you do that, you're stupid.
Yep.
Like straight up, that's a dumb move. That's a
Hmm.
dumb move because everything else doesn't have the ability to grow. They get choked out. They get too burnt out. They get just no roots at all to take hold. That's a dumb move. The thing about God and the results that He can bring, yes, it's easier to for growth to happen in the good soil, but I believe that God is so great that He can cause significant growth even when it's thrown on the cart path, even when it's grown in the thistles, even when it's grown in the scorching sun. Because I was fortunate enough to have a good enough of a background and an upbringing that I was thrown on good soil. Other
I
people,
can't
man,
say I was too.
other people, they were thrown in thistles. They were getting choked out their whole lives in their upbringing, and it continues into their adult life. Or they're thrown on scorching ground and they got burnt, or they're thrown on a cart path and never had a root to take hold of. You can throw that analogy wherever that background is. But guess what? The way that God works is that He can cause growth in the midst of that. Or later on, that seed just happens to go on the good soil and God just does work there. God does work. He does mysterious work. And these results, they are up to Him, but it's our job to spread that seed. That's our job. Spread it. whether it's on the good soil, whether it's on the scorching soil, whether it's on the thistle soil, or whether it's on the cart path. It's our job to spread it
I could
and
say
just
my dad was definitely on that road.
really.
Oh,
So he had a tough. Did he grow up in a home with Jesus?
no.
When did he become a believer?
When we met my mom,
When he met your
and
mom,
that was in 97.
97. Your mom was a believer her whole life?
I believe so. Yeah. But my dad, he was considered like a street thug.
Three, really?
Yeah.
I need to hear this story
Yeah.
from him.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, you definitely, dude. He got in fights every time. Like his reputation was like, oh, don't mess with him. His sister was walking home one day, and this guy stopped her and said, "Hey, hey, who are you?" Or like, "How you doing?" Just doing stupid stuff. And then she said, "My brother's is Michael Wolfe," and they were like, "Oh, my bad," and like walked
Yeah.
out. Like he had that much of a
Man,
reputation.
that I can't even
Yeah.
imagine that. I can't imagine that now.
Yeah, now he's a complete, Jesus changed him so significantly. It's insane. He's a great person now. But
Yes, your dad's someone to look up to.
oh yeah, his knowledge on Christ and like the reason he believes is it's unfathomable. It's insane.
Mm.
That's where I get most of my stuff. Like my strong suit right now is answering questions
Yeah,
that people like they don't know God.
that's awesome.
That's actually that's where God called me to be, I feel. But I got most of my stuff, my knowledge from my dad
Mm.
because he studies it so much. He watches a
He's a smart guy.
oh, he's so smart.
He's a
Yeah.
very smart guy.
Like he watches Frank Turk. Do you know
Mm.
who that is?
Yes.
He watches him and he gets most of the stuff from his theological debates. And I take part of that because he always listens to it in the car. He listens to him, he listens to and something. Can't remember a few other
Yeah.
podcasts. Yeah. But my point is my dad watches all of
Mm.
them and he just gains everything he can and puts it into a logical perspective or whatever. And that's how he comes up with his belief. But he started out on the street pretty much. His money, his dad or his parents had money, but he didn't. He never did. Not until recently, like literally like last year. It was the first time that he's been able to say he's had good money.
I'm glad that's
Yeah.
been changing for him.
Yeah, like he didn't know what he wanted. He had no direction in life, all this kind of stuff. And me met my mom when he was what, 20 something, 30 something. And boom, just like that, he became a believer. Life completely changed. He moved out of the my wacko side of the family. We don't even talk to him anymore. None of them. And moved out completely, dropped all of them. Started living or moved in with my mom. They got married, all this kind of stuff, and boom, just like that, he is one of the strongest believers I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is.
Undoubted faith. It's amazing. So he came from something that he had every right, every reason to even be angry at God, to not want to be a Christian, not do any of this stuff, reject Jesus altogether. But my mom was able to bring him to Jesus, and he was able to find his official calling, which he is a counselor now. So he's helping people with struggles. I think he's mainly working with children, helping them get past and have a better upbringing because his father wasn't very good, so he doesn't want that to happen with other people. So he works
Mhm.
with children now. He loves what he does.
He's got a
So
why. He's got a drive to
yeah,
do it. I love that. Your
yep.
dad is an amazing dude.
Oh yeah, he loves bringing up Jesus whenever he can too.
Yeah.
And now that's my dad's calling now. And before to keep this, put this in perspective, before this, from the time he graduated college, he went to UK, and up until a year ago when he went back to school, or he just got out of school, he went to Lindsey Wilson. Recently did that online. He sold electrical parts.
Really?
He made minimum wage.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm Very small. And even my mom, she was an art teacher before that, but she's a counselor now too.
Okay.
She's making
Cool.
millions. But
Cool.
it's good stuff. But yeah, so my dad came from nothing, and I think he knew he wanted to work with children, help them, because again, he didn't have a father, so he finds a really deep connection when it comes to that and being a father figure himself, because he literally looks at his own father, his adopted father, as an example to not be a part of that. So now he is
I'm gonna
doing his thing, and now he's like a father figure. That's what his job is, counseling.
I'm gonna hit you with a quote. This quote has changed my life, and I've mentioned it in previous episodes. Something that Ed Milet said: "You are most qualified to help the person that you used to be." Your dad used to be that.
Yeah,
Your dad used to be that kid. Now look at him. He's helping
yeah.
those kids because he's the most qualified. He's not the least qualified because he had to deal with it himself. That's what makes him the most qualified. Ed talks about his dad, and his dad was an alcoholic when he was growing up, and his dad got clean. And it's funny because the guy that made his dad go clean was only sober himself for 30 days. He
Oh,
wasn't like 10 years clean and had it all together.
30 days.
Just 30 days.
So 1 month.
Yeah. Like and he used to be it's just amazing how that works, right? You ain't got to have it all put together. You just got to go in, talk to them, and just be their friend in the best way that you can, connect with them the best way that you can, show them love of Jesus the best way that you can, and just help them if they want to be helped. And if they don't want to be helped, you still show up for them and connect with them, and you still be their friend, and you just pray for them. I think it is that simple, and it's not that easy, but it is that simple.
Yeah.
And I love it warms my heart to hear what your dad's doing,
Hmm.
especially knowing more about his background, his story, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, so like he was so this is his thing. So he's born in Ohio, moved to North Carolina, I think, something like that, South Carolina. And when he was 2, he's never met his dad, like his actual dad. He's actually passed away now, but
Yeah.
never met his dad, never saw him, talked to him. But his dad was in the Marines or something. But when he was home, he didn't care. He didn't want to be there. He went away, and when my dad was 2, moved all the way to California, where his mom met his stepmom or
Yeah.
stepdad, not stepmom,
Mhm.
stepdad, and stepdad did not care for him at all. He didn't care at all about him because he didn't see him as a son. He saw him as an adopted person. I don't know. He just saw him as like a foster kid or something like that. Just
Yeah.
someone that you don't pay attention to. Didn't love him, nothing like that. It was sad. So he never had like a true father figure in his life that I'm aware of. So that's why he was on the street. He was
Yeah.
doing all this stuff, like bad to the bone. He punched people that he didn't like. Like he has 3 or 4 broken knuckles, like that happened, and like his knuckles are like forever messed up. He can do this thing with his knuckle because he punched someone so hard. It was crazy. But he grew up like that, and he went to Merced Community College because he grew up in Merced, California specifically. But yeah, Merced College, there's community college, and I don't even know if I think he dropped out something. But and then he eventually moved to Kentucky, and met my mom. But yeah, like just him not having a father figure just changed him so much. And now that I think he didn't care and he was so angry before, but after he met and found Jesus, he was able to change, and that's what brought his drive to become the person that, or to help the people that he once was, like you said, yeah. So that's calling his favorite movie is Fathered by God. I'd recommend that 100%. Fathered by God. I can't remember the director's name, but that is probably the one of the greatest movies of all time. Like my dad cried. He doesn't cry. My dad cried in that movie because
Yeah.
it was such a big father. It was just a father figure moment for him, and
It's awesome.
yeah. So he does that kind of stuff, and then that's what drove him to get his new job.
Awesome, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Love to hear it, man. Jacob, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here. It's
Yeah.
been a good
Yeah.
conversation as always, as
Hmm.
normal. And actually, I made a mistake. I think I talked more than you did.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
I
That
think,
was not my intention.
yeah, whatever.
So I owe it to you to have you on here again at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
Let you talk a
Why
little bit
not?
more.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Yeah,
Uh,
you should see our talks when we're off camera.
yeah, no doubt. Dude, I
Yes.
learned more about you than we're just learning more and we're connecting more. And maybe somebody that's listening right now got a lot out of it. And that's my prayer. That's what I
I
want.
hope so. That's something out of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
But if you need anything, just let me know. I'd love to
Absolutely.
answer any questions. Same with my boy. Yeah.
Absolutely. The Living for His Glory podcast, the DMs are always open. The comments are always open. We love to hear your story. We would love to hear about you. We love to hear your questions for us and for any other guests that we have here. We just love you guys. We cherish you guys. And we do this for you. Truly, we want to connect with you. It's not about us. It's just about providing that impact for you and showing the love of Jesus. That's something that we really do believe in. We've seen the impact in our lives. We've seen the impact in our friends' lives. It is a real thing. And we encourage you to ask questions, any question, no matter how small or big or how stupid you may think it is about it. It is the most important topic in this world and why we do things like this. This week, guys, I just want you to know that I love you now and always. God loves you. You guys are amazing. So I've been praying for you guys this coming week. Pray that you guys have a good 4th of July weekend. It's coming right up.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's
And
coming around.
yep,
Have
absolutely.
fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy
And
Independence Day.
yep, enjoy your time. And I will see you guys next week.